Okay, so the very first actual exam outside of maybe whatever they did to enter kindergarten that my son actually took was the Katachi Kente, which is numbers and shapes, um, which on the hierarchy of the arithmetic and mathematics tests that there are 15 of those in total, that go all the way up from uh, kindergarten to like university and beyond, basically. Uh, so this one, or these two actually, the silver star and the gold star for the numbers and shapes test are they're yeah, the lowest on the scale, and they're mostly aimed towards kids, maybe ages somewhere between 3 and 6 or so. So after I found out about the existence of these tests, um, I looked them up, and I wanted my son to take them, but they only are actually held a few times a year, even though these tests are actually mailed out to the kids to take at home. So again, these specific tests, they are for the younger kids, the silver star and the gold star. And then once you get into the level 11 arithmetic, then it starts going on to, elementary age kids or around that area. So these ones not quite that yet. So what are these tests? They've got 15 questions each, both the gold star and the silver star, and you need 10 questions to pass. And so 10 questions, that's less than most tests. I would say on average, most exams that you'll take in Japan, they will require somewhere between 70 to 90, more often than not 70 or 80% for a passing grade. These ones, 10 out of 15, so that's very reasonable, very easy, I think, for most kids to do. You got 40 minutes to take the test, and if you pass the test, you'll get this certificate on the left of the screen here. Got mine somewhere around here, or my son's rather. Here it is. Name is blocked out, but yeah, this is his gold star. He took both silver and gold back-to-back days when he was doing them. You can take them one at a time, or I think you can just jump straight into gold. You don't need silver necessarily, but I think it's good to take both if you are able. And if you don't get 10 points or more on the test, you'll get this middle certificate, basically the try harder certificate, and they give you sort of a rank on how well you did and so on. So they actually got some sample questions here that let's actually take a look at these and see how the tests are. We'll open silver first. So silver star, 40 minutes. The parent can write the name and information, and it also says for kids who cannot read themselves, the parent or teacher or whomever, guardian, can actually read the questions to the kids, but the kids have to write for themselves. And again, these silver star and gold star, they're mailed out to the kids, so these ones you take at home and under minimal pressure. So even though this isn't really an issue for these two tests, I think, since they're just very basic numbers and shapes, no calculators and no phones during the test. So if you're like kindergarten kids is like, oh, I want to use my phone, you say no, no phone during the test. So very simple questions. Let's take a look. There's 15. You draw the circles in the box for the number of lemons that you can see. So hopefully this isn't too hard for most people. Same with the boats. Connect what is this, kiku flower or something? Connect the same number of things on the left to the same number of things on the right. So 3 crabs and 3 badges here, or flowers. And then we have which one is more, it's the red balloons or the blue balloons. Which one is less, the crayons, which of these crayons, and you just put a circle here. Then we have who is second from the back. It's probably the first time the question kind of changed what kind of question we're being asked. So front, back, who's second from the back. So sort of understanding uh, lines lining up and the basics of patterns, numbers. We get to question 7 here. We start getting into shapes a little bit more. So which one is smaller? Which one is longer? And circle all of the triangles that you see here. And then make a triangle. So you have this one piece that you have up here. And then you want to put a circle in the place where you could put these together and make this triangle on the left. So this one, I think maybe a lot of kids might need an explanation at the beginning, but if you fold a piece of paper, what does it look like after you fold it? And just connect the lines. How many boxes are there? How many boxes are there here? So then you just put a circle in each of these other boxes to signify how many boxes are in the image. And you've probably noticed that the kids on the Silver Star, and I think the Gold Star too, they're not yet expected to even know how to write numbers. They just have to draw circles for the amount, so understand the amount. And here we have some shapes on the left-hand side, and they say make the exact same image on the right-hand side. So it's not particularly a difficult question, but I think if you're not used to doing it, a lot of kids might accidentally mirror the image, or they'll write a triangle in the wrong place, and the X might go in the center, but the triangle might go the wrong side. Well, it takes. I don't think it's too tough for most kids, but as long as they understand the placement of things. Then we have some pattern recognition here. So orange, orange, apple, orange, orange, apple, orange. What comes next? Then is it this or this? Which one would it be? Right? And one more pattern recognition at the end. What is the fill in these final circles here? So if you get 15 or more, or sorry, 10 or more on that, you pass. And my son had just turned 5 when we took it, so he didn't have any problem on the Silver Star at all. Perfect score. Let's take a look at the gold now. Same basic rules, 40 questions, or sorry, 40 minutes, 15 questions. No phones or calculators. If you can't read, the parent can read, and so on. So very similar questions to start. Amount of circles for cats and mushrooms. You'll notice that we have more of the things in the gold star than silver. I think most of the questions are very similar, except that they are slightly more difficult in being able to count. Like here, which one of these is less? And on the previous test, we had like a single crayon in one of the answers, so it was obvious at first glance. This you should probably take a good look at just to be sure. And here, I think this is one of the only times we actually have numbers. So you have 4 dolphins, and how many more dolphins do you need to have 10 dolphins? And they want you to add the amount of circles in the squares below to make the total of 10 dolphins after subtracting these 4. So this is probably a question that if you don't know exactly what they're asking as a kid, it might be difficult. So you want, I think, 6 circles here. Right? So the total number of red cups and yellow cups together, put a line to the amount that it would be. Probably have to count these out. So the seventh cake from the left, which one is it? Put a circle around it. The largest pumpkin, this one's pretty easy. The tallest building, again, pretty easy. Circle the triangles once again. There's more triangles, it looks like, than on our previous one. And slightly more sneaky triangle. There's no actual like gotcha questions at this stage, though, where they try and trick you into believing the question might be something else, like, oh, there's a triangle within the diamond or something like that. So this is just anything that's an actual triangle, three sides, three angles, triangle, right? So this, how do you make this circle on the left here? Using three pieces here. So you just put circles in the brackets below. And another folding question. This one looks similar to the previous one. Oh, I guess the difficulty's ramped up by we have an oval and a circle. So being able to distinguish the difference there, probably the what's harder than on the silver star. And here, okay, we've got more blocks. How many blocks are in this picture? And on the silver star, I think we had just, we could see all the blocks. Here we have to be able to imagine what is behind these blocks in the front and sort of grasp a 3D image of what's going on here. And I think a lot of kids will have, they won't necessarily intuitively know the answer to this. We'd studied a little bit before we actually did the test, so my son had no real problem with this. He was able to count it out, but you know, the assumption is that there is, if there's a cube up here, there's a cube beneath it. There's a cube up on the third level, you know, there's two cubes beneath it, and you sort of count them out, and then again put the number of circles in the boxes over here to match the number of blocks that you have. So at this point, this might be the hardest question on the test, because I think, you know, even an adult would have to stop and actually sort of like count it out a little bit, not intuitively know like right away, or maybe, you know, intuitively know, but not just look and understand the answer immediately. Here we got another copy the left to the right question. These, where exactly you place them is a little more difficult than the sort of like tic-tac-toe style we had previously, but still roughly the same idea. Another pattern recognition. We have a few more shapes than the apples and oranges before, but basically the same thing going on. And then we have this sort of shuriken pattern recognition at the very end here. So fill in what the bloodstained blade here, I guess it's not bloodstained, the dark part would be on this last shape. So again, same thing as the previous test. If you have 10 or more out of 15, you pass. So you mail these booklets. They're A4 booklets that they send to you, and you put on the barcode seal and everything here, and you mail them back to the organization, and then they'll send you the certificate eventually. And to study for these tests, we actually we bought a whole bunch of just random, I don't know if they're random, but they're books that cover very similar issues, like what shapes do you put together to make these diamond here, or whatever in this book, and then a whole bunch of other ones. You know, match these patterns, or copy the shape, which I think helps with some pattern recognitions. Understanding the number of things, whether something is more or less, and so on, these kinds of questions. And location, basically. So just the location-based ones. So these, I think we had him do most of these while he was still 4 years old. We found out about the test, had him do these. turned 5 and then took the test, and both of them were a breeze for him at that point, so not so tough. And I think just a few months later, we actually went and did the level 11 arithmetic test, which is, I'd say it's a pretty big step up from these previous tests, but still, these two tests, the Silver Star and Gold Star for the numbers and shapes, give you a very good base for being able to do arithmetic problems later and adding and subtracting and so on. So that is my analysis of this. And for anybody who is not living in Japan or whatever, I'm sure there are similar tests. Well, okay, I'm not sure, but I would assume there are some kind of tests in your own countries. And, if you have anything like this, sort of like a basis for knowledge that kids can take and get either certified or prove that they have a certain level of knowledge, leave comments. Tell me what you have in wherever you are in the world, if it's different, or if you're in Japan, what you think of these specific tests and whether you think they're actually useful or not. And I guess one other comment that I'd make is like, what is the point of getting certification, getting these certification at such a young age, for example? And I would say that, well, for most kids, they're not necessary. Like for me, my son, I'm not sending him to like some snobby private school anywhere or anything, but I want to be able to, one, test his knowledge in various areas, as I described in the first video on this channel, like what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, so measure power levels, the whole you know Naruto style stuff here and whatever, and get a good sense of that is my main reason. And for other people, um, or I guess for everyone, I think it's nice to have, and it kind of gives the children motivation and inspiration and something to look back on as well, how far they've come, what they've been able to do, and be a very clear step towards the next goal. And then for people who actually want the certification for something practical, there are actual like private schools or something that when you apply to, they will want some sort of proof of what you have done, or what your child's done anyway. Like, oh, we only take children who have, contributed as the first author in 3 or more scientific papers or whatever. And you're like, oh, not a lot of 6-year-olds have done that yet, but we'll see, we'll see. So it's good to have something like this for anybody who is looking to, go to those private institutions and whatnot. But for everybody else, I think it's good motivation. It's good to have. I have all my son's certificates hanging up on a wall over here, just for practical reasons and space reasons. For most of the tests that we do, like this gold star that I was showing, I actually have his certificate for the silver star right behind this one within the same frame, because my wall isn't big enough to just, hang everything on. So you choose what you have in front and how many in each category you will display, and so on. Anyway, it's a good foundation, and I recommend people either I'm just gonna say I would recommend you take a test like this as a basis for your kid. So it's different. This will probably come up a lot more in future videos, but I think it's very different taking a practice test and taking a real test. In this case, to be honest, they send you the test, you take it at home, uh, and your parents can, or guardian or whatever, can read the test for you. So there might not be a huge difference between this and or this actual test and practice test that you might take similar to this, but going forward. There's when you're taking an actual test compared to practice tests or just regular studying, there's the environment generally changes, your mindset changes, the stress is different. So just getting used to taking tests like this, and knowing that for most people, your score is going to go down on the real test rather when compared to practice tests is something to sort of get used to early on and try and navigate, figure out, try to actually make the real test at least as good as the practice test. What can you do to do that and so on. So getting used to test taking is just another thing. Anyway, it's my analysis of the numbers and shapes test, silver star, gold star, lowest level on the arithmetic and mathematics test period of 15 tests, the first two. So, uh, everybody else, good luck. Please leave comments telling me what you think of these tests, if you'd take them or rather have your kids take them or not, and if you personally think they're useful or not, and if you're living outside of Japan, what your country has, if any, kind of test like this, um, for children to take arithmetic. So that's that. Good luck, everybody. Let's get our parameters up. Get our skill tree up. Level up.